It's a memory that will live on in my mind for the rest of my life. I think it's one of the first memories I will have of UW. It's obviously been my first year, and I think that winning feeling is something that I want every single year whilst being here.
I mean, it's the biggest thing I've ever done, and it's one of the fastest races I've ever put out, and I've never felt so in the zone. So I just really appreciated being able to, race what are probably some of the best University 8s in the world.
But in the end, if you stay focused and together, good things happen, yeah.
It's always been on the back burner, the idea that we might go to Henley after IRAs, and the whole year is sort of like, okay, it's a bit of an afterthought because the prerequisite is we're going to win the IRA substantially. It's going to be a significant margin, and we're going to send the boat to the Grand Challenge Cup.
I had a coach from home after Cal Duel text me and say, so when are you entering the Grand? And I was like, nah, no, we're not entering the Grand. And
Michael sort of talked all year about it being like a player-led team, and those are the teams that sort of succeed in sports when it's really driven by the athletes.
I told them that in my experience is that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be able to be a collegiate level crew and go race in the Grand. And we hadn't won that race since 1977, and were they willing to take the risk?
We sort of came together and we said, Michael, we want to do the Grand Challenge Cup, and he said it was just a like, okay, let's do this.
it was a definite yes, and the focus has been there, and everyone's been really passionate about the project.
We're going to really attack this as hard as we can and give everything towards it.
I think it was really useful to come off that emotional high and kind of try and peak again for Henley, which is obviously extremely tough. We're not here just to have fun. It's not a little fun treat after winning IRAs. But we're here to win it, and that's very much the mindset we're going in with. It's a business trip.
It's quite fun for me and Nikita because it's like a bit of a full circle event, if you will, because that's where we went to school.
This is where I first learnt to row and kind of where it all began for me.
Everything's alive! Oh!
I think the past 7 months has been really tough. I think moving overseas is something you think is going to be tough, but you don't really know it until you experience it. And being away from home, I think my gran, she lives in Henley on the Fair Mile, so it is literally like coming back to where I grew up. And just walking around Henley, seeing all your friends again, it's a very weird experience to being somewhere in the US where I knew nothing about it. So yeah, it really does feel like I'm coming home. How much we know about Henley, I'd say maybe there's only 2 guys who actually know a lot about Henley in the boat.
I've won a Henley medal, but in my mind right now, all I'm focused on is this project.
We've got pinpoint focus on our own aspirations, and we're not going to try and let the excitement of the event get to us until it's time. I think it's like Henley gets to you like that. You can get enthralled in the atmosphere. It was nice to get seeded, obviously. So we're racing on Saturday and Sunday rather than the Friday as well. So that'll be good. And we just want to really peak for that big Sunday event. So it's either Oxford Brookes or Leander if we make it to Sunday. So that will be a really big race.
They're an extremely high standard, but yeah, we've got to be able to beat them on any day, any conditions, any lane. And I think the draw sets us up well to do that, but the draw doesn't win you the race.
Tough conditions today. Don't fight the jungle. A lot of noise, a lot of wind, a lot of rain. And if they make the mistake of letting you guys out in front, punishment for it. But stay internal. Nikita's got the call. He knows what to do. 1, 2, 3,
tunnel now, yeah? It's gonna be a lot of noise. Ready, go!
Let's go rowing, boys. Yep. Attention. Go.
Roll. Through. Stop. Spin. Swing. Now. Up and length up. Good. Stay loose. Coming through the quarter mile. Stay sharp. That's 500 meters in. We're going to go to the barrier. Pinch. Spin. Through the barrier. Good. As we go through falling, we're going to really brake.
My time at Washington, it goes like saying, it was an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, we're not going to wait. We're going to punish. Ready? Go.
Those relationships made those moments more special than probably words can really account for.
We're going to peak early. Ready? Again. Ready? Stable. Flat hands. Ready. Go. Oh, good. Stay calm. Next stroke. Way enough.
We did exactly what we prepared to do and executed that first race really well. That was probably one of my, top 5 favorite races I ever rode. Definitely wasn't easy, but we did exactly what we tried to do that race.
Good luck.
This time there was no 6th year. This was my last and biggest race to date as a Washington oarsman.
I think the morning we're all feeling really, really eager to get into it. It was the last race of our year as a crew.
There was a sense of calm, but we really didn't know what was coming later on in that day.
I think one thing you get training here is we train very, very hard and we train with a lot of intent. And a lot of the time there's things going on, things outside your control.
We're in the grandstand, so we're just watching the video monitors, and the race before it just finished, they flashed the start, and both crews were just sitting there, but not like they were ready to go, which you normally see, is they were sitting there, so I was like, there's a problem.
We come to the end of the warm-up, and my 2C at the time, Harry said, hey, my outside grip's fallen off. Honestly, at the time, I thought he was joking. So we sat on the water for about, I'd say, an hour and 20 at this point. A couple of races had been delayed. Then my 6th seat goes, hey, my grip's come off as well.
And we're led by Nikita in just such a good way where we could have looked at that as a huge setback. In a weird way, it hyped us up even more.
And we knew at that point that really we thought nothing else could go wrong.
Together, so here we are. It's the grand in the rain.
We get off the line, we put ourselves into the race.
Stroke for stroke. Huge watts in the ground.
I was going for the 1% coming into our big move.
Too close. Yes, they're very close. They've hit it. They've hit it.
I clipped my oar on one of the pilings down the course, and just with how fast we were going, took the oar completely out of my hands. It wasn't even like catching a crab. It was, oar came to a complete stop against that wood pole.
To go through a race-defining moment like that and still be able to fight, I think really that was nothing to do with me in a lot of ways. It was all on those guys.
Set. Drive it. 50 meters. Shove. Squeeze. Shove. Squeeze. Loose. Turn. And down.
Sorry, boys. Sorry.
Finished practice with the US team on Lake Pusiano in Urba, Italy, and I went on a bike ride. I didn't watch it live, and mostly because I felt like I didn't want to drive it. And probably also realizing I just really wanted to win the race, and I really wanted to win the race for Washington, and I wanted them to win, so I'm probably like protecting myself from it too.
It's devastating. I mean, there's no sort of words for it. I think if you put yourself out there and you really care about something, and it doesn't go your way. I think particularly in the way that it did.
The beauty about sport is your ability to be vulnerable and giving yourself that opportunity. You're vulnerable to losing, but you have to have that vulnerability to win. So I think we went out there and exposed our vulnerability, and this time it didn't come off as we wanted it, but you know, it's just another chance to learn.
The brotherhood we have as 9 guys is far bigger than any race that we can win.
There was a real bond between us that I think had showed in that moment, because we were all very, very supportive of one another. We won the biggest race in college rowing together as a team, and we lose another huge race together, and that's something that we shared together.
We just embrace each other as some of the closest friends in my life and each other's lives.
Well, I was so lucky. You know, I still think about it like every day. I think, would I have been able to come back this year if I didn't have those group of guys around me? Probably not. You know, it was my mistake. I had to take full credit for that. But they created this real amazing atmosphere where they didn't care about, you know, their dreams had been broken as well. It was like, hey, let's protect this guy. During dinner, I got a long text from Michael. It essentially said, we're here to support you however you need. And it was very protective, and in a lot of ways it kind of reinforced why I wanted to be at this program. The idea was, hey, we're not here as athletes for 1 year. Can we develop you over 4 years? Can we make you stronger? And sometimes you have to go through those experiences in sport to really develop as a human and also develop as an athlete.
That moment's not going to define us, and it's definitely going to drive us to some extent to future victories.
Well, first of all, it's a beautiful thing to see him back. You know, like to be here and to be challenging again.
I know that my senior year IRA is just barely missing it. Lit a fire under me that brought me back for a 5th year, pushed me harder than I ever had before.
You get to Henley and you get into a grand final, man, that is amazing. You want to go win that race, you don't win that race for whatever reason, you don't win that race, you just say to yourself, wow, you just reached the pinnacle of Washington rowing right there. And so you come back and get back in the boat and you go do it again.
This whole year I was looking for a bunch of role models, and they did exactly that in a moment that was very, very difficult for them. There could have been a lot of finger pointing, there could have been a lot of making excuses. In the end, it was just another moment to come together. I think if you want to win great things, you have to take big risks.
The further away I get from that Sunday, I think the more I'm proud that we actually went for it. And I don't think that's anything that anyone can ever take away from us. One thing that I was thinking about, and actually it's a speech from Teddy Roosevelt, and I think it's very relevant to the race, to the last 4 years. And the speech goes, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat." My last 4 years at Washington, I can say for sure I was in the arena every day. And that's something that I can be proud of forever. I think everyone in that boat can be proud of forever.
I'm just excited to develop this boat club and keep the history of UW living on.